What's something that you are surprised how cheap it is? Pineapples. They take 2 entire years to grow. My dad planted the top of his pineapple once. The plant grew pretty large, and after about 5 years, a tiny little pineapple finally sprouted. It didn't get any bigger than a pine cone and died, and then the plant died. Lol. Perhaps Northern Illinois isn't the best place to try to grow a pineapple. My brother-in-law planted a pineapple top in a pot, indoors, in Anchorage, Alaska. Took 3 years instead of 18 months to get a pineapple, but they got one. Then they ate that one and he's now growing the top from the new one. Postage is a deal. Just think about it. I give them under $1 and in return, they take my sealed envelope anywhere in the US. For a little more, they will take it anywhere in the world. Honestly, modern delivery services are something to marvel at. Yes, they are. I live in Canada. I ordered 7 items on Amazon on a Monday afternoon. By Tuesday evening I had a nice man at my door with my Amazon package. The charge hadn't even posted to my credit card yet, and still I had my package in about 24 hours. It's amazing. Dude, Amazon has 1 hour shipping where I'm at. It's amazing. I worked at a company that makes dance costumes. I like to make costumes in my spare time. Because of my job, I got to see how much it actually cost a factory to produce a costume. Labor plus materials came out to $15. $15. In order for me to make the same costume, the cheapest fabric I could get would be $20 a yard. So, clothes. Manufacturing clothing is so cheap that it's not even worth it to make your own. Yeah, I used to be really into sewing and looked into starting it as a little side thing as a teenager, but it just wasn't worth it. Nothing can compete with fast fashion. Things are made so cheaply now, I try and shell out a bit more and at least buy made in Canada or US or buy thrift. Things from Forever 21. Last one wash if you're lucky. Pen. How could colorful plastic pen cost 5 cents? How? Amortization basically. The materials are dirt cheap, and the expensive parts are spread out over billions, maybe trillions, of pens. Same reason so many goods that were at one time expensive are so cheap. For example, a single shovel is expensive to make. 500,000 shovels are cheap to make. Economies of scale are an amazing thing. Similar in publishing. 1 copy of a book costs about the same to make as 500 copies. The main cost is preparation. Most modern electronics, the level of tech and knowledge that is required to design and manufacture some of this gear and certain pieces are sold incredibly cheaply, especially CPUs. Amazing manufacturing technologies. Intel would like to have a talk with you, especially in the last 6 months. Plastic and silicone goods. You can get a silicone spatula in any color for £0.90 or a plastic cake decorating cone from China for £0.22. How do you manufacture a package and ship anything for 22 pence? I just ordered a package of 10 dices from Thailand for €1.50. Free shipping. It would probably be more expensive to ship them inside of Germany than I paid for those China heavily subsidized shipping costs. Just recently I bought 10 RFID stickers for like $3.34. That would cost me 10 euros at Amazon e.g. A friend of mine recently bought a watch from China for 3 cents. Free shipping. I don't get it. There is tons of stuff on eBay that costs a penny and has free shipping. How the hell do they make money doing this? Some people do it at a loss to pump up their sales and ratings, which are supposedly very important to get customers on eBay. This is a gold sponge gar. It only appears once every 1 million sponge gar appearances. Like the video within 5 seconds for good luck. Now back to scheduled programming. You can buy a tank cheaper than a Lamborghini. Good to know. Do what you want with that information. I'm thinking that with the right tank, I can get all the Lambos I want. Now we are talking. Chocolate and coffee. Growing that shit is no joke and it's probably going to go extinct before mankind does. Also, this is going to sound all hail corporate, but in the UK, fairy washing up liquid, it's like a quid a bottle and lasts for months. I still never got to make that rocket. That bloody child. Don't get me started. Cars in the United States. I grew up in Brazil where cars were a luxury for the middle and upper class. Multiple cars were only for the millionaire class. An upper middle class family would have 1 car and they would take care of it lovingly for decades. I moved to the US and grew up here, and I was able to buy a car while working for Hollywood Video making $7.50 an hour. Granted, it was a used car from 2001. This was in 2007. But when I told my dad in Brazil this, he flipped the fuck out. He had saved for 4 to 5 years to buy a fucking 1993 car in 2005. I didn't tell him that my family back in the US had multiple cars. I had a car, my sister had a car, my mom had a car, and my stepdad had one. All bought for less than 10k each. I didn't want to make him even sadder. There was a time when Kaya had a buy one get one free promotion. 4K TVs. No one I know has one, but you can get even large ones now. 55 inch. For under $300. For some reason, no one seems to care about 4K TVs. Just got a 65 inch 4K for $500 a couple weeks ago when the living room TV died. The TV is dead. Long live the TV. TBH, I didn't give a shit about the 4K part, but the refresh rate, HDMI ports and size sold me. Also, it was on clearance to make room for the new models about to come in. GOT looked pretty damn good last week. Refresh rate is key, especially when watching sports. As a Canadian, I can't relate to the majority of these. Food, airplane tickets. I'm just gonna cry into my $2 double from Tim's. $1 coffee's on at McDonald's. And honestly, it's so much better than Tim's. Not to mention, fuck Tim's. TBH, I was just trying to follow the stereotype, but McDonald's coffee is definitely superior, and their cups are just so much nicer. Human labor. You can rent a human being, the most awesome and complex mechanism in the universe, for $15 an hour to do menial work. Hey, it's me, your rental human. Black obsidian. Apparently, black obsidian is the most common sort of obsidian, so it's actually sort of cheap to buy. You can legitimately buy a square meter of it for under $100 in some areas, which I find cool. You can go to the Nether for under $2,000. Excuse me, but are you barbaric? Just don't include the corner blocks. Then it adds up to about $1,000, but it looks so much better with corner blocks. Hell, late game I put diamond blocks on corners just to flex. Alcohol anywhere in the world except Finland, Norway and Sweden. It is bad in Canada too. I go on a fishing trip to Canada every other year, and it is cheaper for me to buy Canadian whiskey in the US, pay the taxes at the border, than it is to buy it in Canada. Fast food in America. Holy shit, that is cheap. So cheap I don't eat it. I can't trust it. It is too cheap. A small meal at McDonald's in New Zealand can be like $20. For the same amount you can get the supersize meal in the US. You can feed a family. It is too damn cheap. Food is too cheap is the epitome of first world problems. Airplane tickets. A friend of mine was able to fly from Germany to Portugal for €30 last year. Trips by train between certain German cities are usually more expensive than a lot of plane rides across Europe. Insane. You are breaking my freaking heart. Here in Canada, it would cost over $100 to fly to a city 100 miles away. Flying to Australia last year cost me $2,500. I'm going to have to start flapping my arms. Hell, at that point it may be cheaper to drive to a US airport and fly out of that. Planting a tree. An oak sapling from Lowe's is $30. With very little care, the tree will grow into a giant, provide shade, beauty and mitigate CO2 in the atmosphere. After 75 years or so, at the end of its life, it can provide enough wood to build a small home. Oaks can live a lot longer than 75 years. You know, I should have googled that. Apparently white oaks live on average 300 years. Some live much longer. Red oaks average 200. Live oaks, which are common where I am, are fully grown at 70 years and may live for hundreds and even thousands of years. The laurel oak is a short-lived variety averaging just 50 to 60 years. 12 eggs are usually sold for $1 or less. That's kind of nuts when you think about it. 12 eggs are like $6 on sale here. I just replied to your comment on McDonald's. Damn. Me and the wife have actually considered emigrating to New Zealand but I'm wondering if we could afford it. Fishing license. How much does it cost in your country? In Germany you have to pay 200 euros. I mean that's still pretty cheap, considering hunting licenses cost 2,000 euros and driver's licenses cost 1,800. Even scuba diving is like 400 euros. Now that I live in France, the answer is vacuum cleaners. In Canada, a good vacuum cleaner is going to set you back hundreds of dollars. In France, typically, a good vacuum cleaner is less than 100 euros. Ceiling fans. I thought for sure they would be like $300 at the lowest. Turns out you can get one for as low as $80 at Lowe's or Home Depot. To resign my apartment lease, they offered a deal where I either get $1,000 rent credit on my account or I can have them install a ceiling fan in any room of my choosing. My apartment has no ceiling fans. If anyone took the fan deal, they are an idiot. LMFAO the $1,000 ceiling fan. Printer ink. It costs like 50 cents to manufacture and is sold for $50. Fucking ridiculous. You'd think that the ink was made from the glands of endangered whales and dust collected from comets at the prices they sell it for. And the way printers won't print if they're low on ink. Low means has some. Low means has more than the machine is letting on. We know our printers are lying to us, and that's why we hate them. I know there are probably a lot of good fine people who work in the printer business, but I suspect that most, when questioned by others about their occupation, would prefer to say they test cosmetics on the eyes of bunny rabbits. This is Golden Mr. Skeletal. It appears only once every 20,000 years. Like the video and subscribe to Comment Awards in 20 seconds or you will never have calcium and good bones again. PG! On top, food chain, won't stop, new game, hot box that blue haze, one lock, 2 chains, no bras, 2 babes, mic drop, new stage, lights in my rear view, 5 cops, food race, faster than a Tesla, they say I'm exhausted.